This is an ABC 12 special presentation of your Stormtracker 12 Winter Weather Special. Now, here's your Stormtracker 12 weather team and ABC 12 Chief Meteorologist, JR Kirtek.
Welcome to Stormtracker 12's Winter Weather Special. I'm Chief Meteorologist JR Kirtek, and we finally have signs out there that winter is fast approaching. And in Michigan, there are plenty of preparations you need to make so you can keep safe. That's why we're all around the area bringing you the stories on the impacts this season could have. We begin with meteorologist Isaac Cleland, who forecasts what La Nina could mean for our temperatures and precip this winter.
This winter, a La Nina is favored. Now, that's the opposite of the El Nino winter that we experienced last year. It was a strong one, and it brought us the warmest winter on record. This year's La Nina is favored to be weak, so I think it will influence our winter weather pattern, but it's not the only factor that we will need to consider when looking at a winter forecast. Now, a La Nina pattern is focused on the temperatures of the ocean waters along the equator in the Pacific Ocean. The warmer than normal waters shift out to the west, and that allows cooler than normal ocean water temperatures to set up across the central and eastern Pacific, right along the equator off the coast of South America. And these ocean temperatures drive the weather patterns across the globe, including us here in the United States, with the greatest influence during the winter. This pattern would set up wetter than normal conditions right through the Great Lakes, which would be a welcome sight given the dry conditions that we have been experiencing this autumn. Temperatures, bit of a battle zone here. Warm to the southeast, cool to the northwest, right in between. That's where we get that active wet pattern. Now, because La Nina is weak, though, we also need to consider the ocean temperatures in the northern Pacific Ocean. This is known as a negative PDO pattern, and right now it's very strong. Notice the warm waters there and the cool waters off the coast of Alaska and the Pacific Northwest of the United States. Those ocean temperatures also impact the jet stream, and often that will bring in warmer than normal temperatures across the eastern portions of the United States during the winter season. So when we combine that strong negative PDO with the weak La Nina, the idea for this winter would be a warmer than normal one and also wetter than normal. Now, normal rain and melted snow during the winter months, December, January, and February, is about 5.5 inches. I think we'll see more than that this winter given the active wetter than normal pattern. Snowfall normally is about 40 inches in Flint and 37.1 inches there in Saginaw. Last winter, we only received 20 inches of snow in Flint and 24.5 in Saginaw. This winter, I think we'll see more snow than last winter, but still a little bit less snow than normal, and temperatures likely to be warmer than normal again this winter, but not quite as warm as where they were last winter. And again, we have that wetter than normal pattern in there as well. Now, since it's wet, could we see more snow? I think we could if cold air sticks around for long enough, and we will see blasts of cold air this winter, but with a warmer than normal weather pattern favored, the idea would be that any blasts of cold air will be short-lived, but if they can stick around for long enough, that would give us some more snow, and that's something that we will be watching very closely over the next few months.
Well, it is that time of the year, time we check in with the professor, John McMurray. John, always great to see you.
Always a pleasure.
Now, last we were talking, we had an El Nino winter approaching, and we all knew what that meant, warm and no snow, which did come to pass. Since that time, how have you been?
Well, I have been fine. In fact, I was just thinking as I was driving over, 2 weeks ago, I was in New York City at my 60th class reunion.
But you're not any older, that's the thing.
Very true.
All the grandkids are good?
They are all good. We've had several graduates from Grand Valley State University. Maggie is a clinical psychologist over on the west side of the state. So.
But no great grandbabies quite yet?
No, not yet, not
Okay,
yet.
okay.
Mary Ellen is looking forward to that.
So this year, it's a different story. Weak La Nina.
Yeah.
So you have any thoughts?
Well, my thinking is, and it has been an excellent, very warm summer, very warm, but very dry
Autumn, for sure.
autumn. And I suspect that the winter is not going to be too terribly cold and just barely the normal amount of snow, and wet snow at that.
So, and on top of the wet snow, we just might get periods of rain.
Yeah, yeah.
Now, we are in a moderate to extreme drought. So, I mean, that type of precip, if we do get it, it's going to be certainly something to be welcome.
Yeah, that's for true. My grass is now brown instead of green. I do notice that on your lawn you have a buttergreen here.
Oh, well, that always stays green, even when the snow gets on it, and you can see the green through it. But, okay, so some wet snow and maybe a little bit of rain, above average temperatures. You think it was warm as last winter, though?
You know, I would not be a bit surprised if it does turn out. We've had exceptionally mild temperatures, you know, through the end of October and into November. The weekend that I was in New York City was absolutely gorgeous so late in the month of October. And the colors on Interstate 80 going through Pennsylvania were absolutely spectacular.
Of course, some wind lately has knocked a lot of our color out of it, but we did have a good season. John, it's always a pleasure to speak with you.
My pleasure.
And hopefully, well, maybe there's a chance we will have a little more snow this year to shovel.
Rain, snow, sleet, even thunder snow. We get it all during a Michigan winter. But the one word none of us likes to hear when we're forecasting the winter months is ice. Just a thin coating of ice can be catastrophic for travel and can shut down cities. Here's meteorologist Jim Cantori from the Weather Channel to show why ice warnings are so important to take seriously.
Check out this blizzard. I am up in the clouds, way up as a matter of fact, about 6,500 feet. It's a long way down there. Snow's flying all over the place, and oh, wait for it. Yes, thunder snow, baby. How do I always get myself in these situations? We'll save that for another segment. All right, listen, this is a monster winter storm, but there's a wrinkle in the forecast. Let's take this down a little closer to the ground. I'll show you what I mean. All right, there is so much warm air feeding into this beast that these falling snowflakes are actually melting. In fact, most of the precipitation around me is rain, which is not good because down near the ground and on the ground, we've got temperatures holding at 29 degrees. Listen, the cold air is so dense, it remains locked in place. The warm air has to go up and over that cold air, and the rain doesn't have time to refreeze into sleet pellets. So now we have to deal with accumulating ice. Just 1/10 of an inch makes roads and sidewalks extremely slippery. 1/4 of an inch can break branches and cause spotty power outages. And once you're over 1/2 inch, serious problems ensue. Ice storms can cause billions of dollars in damage. They can hit ground transportation, aviation, and power sectors really hard. I mean, just look at these power lines. All right, those icicles must be, oh, gee, you gotta be kidding me. Where did that come from? That giant icicle just fell from his cell tower. These ice missiles can reach speeds of 90 miles an hour and land 1,000 pounds of force. Just look around. Ice collects on everything. Look at the stress on these power lines. Hundreds of pounds of excess weight, causing them to sag and sometimes even snap the poles that they're attached to. And you know what? The same goes for the trees. Ice can increase the weight of the branches by 30 times. You hear that? Uh-oh, I think this thing's coming down. Here it comes. Oh! Holy smoke! Whoa, and up! There goes the power. Power's out. Thank goodness nobody was sitting in that bench. You know what? Look around. There's nobody out here. Nobody on the roads. Businesses are shut down. Schools closed. That's exactly the way it should be when you have an ice storm of this magnitude. What the heck is that? Do you hear? You gotta be kidding me, a bus? I obviously spoke too soon. This is not gonna end well. Look, the bus is already starting to slide. Look at that. 150,000 plus accidents per year. It doesn't matter if you're in a heavy bus or a four-wheel drive. You're gonna slide on the ice. 40,000 people get injured on average. And you know what? I hope this bus stops. 500 people lose their lives. That's 500 too many. You know what? It's a good thing that there are no passengers on this bus. You don't ever want to be on the road in these conditions. You're putting yourself and others at risk. Stay at home and be ready to deal with an extended time without power because the crews are not going to be able to get to you until the ice storm is stopped. I've had enough of this. Stay safe. I'm out of here.
Winter weather can certainly make travel difficult. Mid-Michigan road commissions will certainly be watching the forecast, preparing to respond. But how is air travel affected? Stormtracker 12 meteorologist Kevin Goff is at Flint's Bishop International Airport with more on how they keep air traffic in and out of mid-Michigan as smooth as possible during the winter months.
The busy season at Bishop Airport has just begun. Holiday travel will increase the number of flights by as much as 20 a day, and each one will be evaluated to make sure they can take off safely with whatever weather Mother Nature brings. In fact, if you look out the window before your flight, you might see ground crews spraying the plane with something. But they're not washing off the dirt. Chief Operating Officer Christopher Yates explains.
The purpose of de-icing is to ensure that the aircraft still is able to generate enough lift to be able to take off.
Here at Bishop Airport, they use two different types of solution. The first is the de-icing solution, and this orange stuff, that's used to make sure that there's no existing ice on aircraft wings, the engine, or the tail. This thicker green solution is used as an anti-icing agent so that any additional snow or ice that forms before takeoff will be removed. A common chemical used is called glycol, the same ingredient used in antifreeze in your vehicle's radiator to help keep water from freezing. The de-icing agent concentrate is then added to water, heated, and sprayed onto the aircraft. This stuff isn't cheap and can cost over $10,000 for a large commercial jet. Just be patient, as you may have to wait a bit before your plane takes to the sky as it taxis to a parking spot specifically designed for snow and ice removal.
If it's a beautiful day like today and it's just a little frost, probably about 25 minutes and they'll be on their way. If it's actively snowing and you're talking about one of the A320s that Allegiant flies, you could be sitting there for 45 minutes.
The de-icing pad is slightly tilted to collect any extra liquid on the ground.
It's a spot where we can collect the glycol, so it's not just running out into the storm systems. It's collected and then it can be reused in the future.
In addition to helping keep flights safe by applying de-icing and anti-icing chemicals, maintenance crews at Bishop Airport always monitor the two more than 1 mile long runways, as well as taxiways for any bad weather that may make them slick. Sand is applied at the first signs a runway may get slippery to add traction. That's according to maintenance crew leader John Thompson.
When we do, we know ice is coming, either freezing rain or some kind of precipitation that may freeze. We have a liquid chemical that we put down called potassium acetate.
This chemical prevents the ice from bonding to the pavement surface. If the runway is already coated, another solid formula is used to break through the ice and melt it. For accumulating snow, plows and blades are used to push the white stuff off the 4 miles of pavement.
We have 4 plow trucks available, we have 4 broom trucks available, and then we have a dedicated snow blower.
Thompson adds they can clear all the priority surfaces of a light snow in about an hour and a half with a full crew. For heavier snow events, they will be out there constantly to make sure all passengers flying in and out of Bishop Airport are as safe as possible. Most vehicles on the road these days have ABS braking systems to help avoid losing traction. During the winter months, Mid-Michigan can have rain, snow, ice, sometimes all in one day. That can increase braking distances by hundreds of feet. Here are some common stopping distances in different types of winter weather. On dry pavement, you can expect a range between 60 and 100 feet. That increases to 120 feet or more when roads are wet. If there's snow, that adds at least another 60 feet or more. And when streets are icy, that distance can lengthen to 600 feet or more, the same distance as 2 football fields. Be prepared to slow down and take your time as conditions worsen to help avoid an accident.
And of course, one of the things really important we need to do as we head into the winter season is make sure we keep our homes heated properly and safely. And to that end, I'd like to introduce Ron Wolfgram from Blessing Plumbing, Heating, and Electrical. And Ron, there are some things we should do, maybe even a couple of times a year with, let's say, a gas-forced furnace that we have in our homes, and that would, of course, be the filters.
Yeah, absolutely. And it really depends on the type of filter or air cleaner that you have. Some of them need to be replaced once every month, some of them every 3 months, some of them once a year. So it depends, but furnaces need proper airflow through them in order to heat your house properly, and if they get too dirty, then they can overheat. So that's definitely an important.
But there are a lot of things inside the furnace that we shouldn't tinker with, and that's why we would call blessings, for instance, to get at that seasonal tune-up, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
What are kind of the things that you would look at if you were coming to check somebody's system?
If we were to do what we call a clean and check on a system, we would pull and clean the flame sensor, clean the burners, check your gas pressure. A lot of them have what they call condensate traps. We'd clean those out and flush them out. And check their heat exchangers for safety. And venting as well. A lot of times, you know, especially on the older furnaces, some of the metal venting can become corroded and develop holes in it, so we check that.
Now, what we're standing in front of here would be a boiler system for radiant heating, and there are quite a few folks that have this type of system as well. What, if anything, can a person who has this type of system at home do by themselves?
You know, it's tough because most of it's self-contained. It's most things that a professional would handle, but keeping the radiant floor registers clear of dust will help keep your house clean, help the equipment run a little more efficiently. There's not any filters involved in these really. They need burner services and stuff like that to keep them working.
Now, one thing that both types of systems have is an exhaust to the outside. What can happen, something very simple that can happen that homeowners can deal with?
Yeah, so high efficiency boilers, high efficiency furnaces, and even tankless water heaters, a lot of times will have intake and exhaust pipes that are PVC. And a lot of times they run directly out the side of your house, somewhat low to the ground, and they can become clogged with snow, especially on a snowy day or a blowy day. They can be clogged with little rodents will get in there, ice, and this time of year, especially leaves. Like if you're blowing leaves up, cleaning your yard, I've seen a lot of times where they get sucked into the furnace intake.
And the system then, if it sounds like it's running properly, but it's just not heating, that could be an issue?
Yeah, for sure. If it's cycling on and off, you notice the blower fan is running constantly, but it's not really heating, that would be a sign that you got something going on.
Okay, Ron, so we know what we need to do to get our systems ready for winter. Sometimes, though, bad weather things happen, we lose power. Some folks have a whole home generator, which is great, it's self-sufficient, but others don't. What are some things that we just absolutely should not do in cases of emergencies like that?
Yeah, generators, whether they're standby or portable ones, they put off a lot of carbon monoxide in their exhaust. And portable ones, you definitely want to get away from your house, at least 25 feet away from your house with the exhaust facing away. Never in your basement or in your garage or even near your house. Sometimes the exhaust can even get up into your soffits of your home. So that's a good thing. Another thing while we're on generators is the batteries on generators, on standby generators, tend to fail in the wintertime. So that would be another good maintenance item to have checked.
And of course, when we talk about carbon monoxide, we have those in the house. Make sure that those are up to date too, right? Carbon monoxide detectors.
Yeah, for sure. You're supposed to have one in every bedroom and on every level of your house. And it's a great idea to have one in your mechanical room too. That's generally, if you're gonna get carbon monoxide, a lot of times that's where it may be generated.
Okay, well thanks for your time, Ron, and thanks for helping us get ready for winter.
Absolutely, thank you.
Beginning this winter, the National Weather Service is moving away from stressing the differences between temperatures and wind chill readings. The bottom line is that extreme cold is extreme cold, regardless of the wind. So when the temperature or wind chill reading is expected to fall to between 15 and 24 degrees below zero, a cold weather advisory will be issued. When temperatures or wind chills of 25 degrees below zero or colder are possible, the two terms extreme cold watch and wind chill watch are now being combined into just an extreme cold watch. And finally, when temperatures or wind chills of 25 degrees below zero or colder are expected, an extreme cold warning will be issued. We'll keep you prepared for the winter weather on air, online, and on our free Stormtracker 12 weather app. Just scan the QR code on your screen right now to download it from your app store. You can set up your favorite locations to see forecasts, radar, and projected snow accumulations. And be sure to set up push alerts so you'll know when a warning or advisory has been issued for your area.
Every once in a while in the wintertime, you can get a phenomenon known as freezing fog. And while it may look beautiful, it can freeze objects on contact, including roads, bridges, and overpasses. So how does this happen? First, you need fog to form, and in the wintertime, we usually get really cold air to move across the country. But also a moisture source, like a river or a lake, that provides the heat and the moisture needed to then condense into a cloud. That's basically what fog is, a cloud that forms all the way down to the ground. There's something else you need to know, though. Water in the atmosphere can stay liquid much colder than the freezing point of 32 degrees. I know it's a bit of a misconception, but even down to about 14 degrees or so, water in the atmosphere can still be liquid and not frozen until it hits something. That's where freezing fog comes in. Anywhere that's foggy but the temperature is below freezing, if the fog hits something, say a tree or road, a power line, it will freeze on contact. Think of it like freezing drizzle. It's water through the atmosphere, but once it hits something, it freezes and can get really dangerous once that ice starts to build up.
We hope you've learned a lot over this past half hour, and make sure you stay with us for the entire winter so you can stay prepared for whatever Mother Nature dishes up. Stormtracker 12 is your safest place in bad weather.